Merchant of Venice. Act 1, Scene 2. A room in Portia's house. Enter Portia and Nerissa. Portia. Honestly, Nerissa, my little body is tired of this great world. Nerissa. You would be tired, dear madam, since you have as many miseries as you have good fortunes. Yet, as far as I can think, people who have too much are just as sick as those who are ill and starving by having nothing with them. It is not a bad fortune, then, to be placed between the two extremes of having too much and too little. The man who has too much wealth soon becomes grey haired, but he who has just enough wealth lives longer. Portia. Good words. Well spoken, Nerissa. It would be better if they were well followed. Portia. If to do good is as easy as to know what is good, then chapels would be churches and poor men's houses would be royal palaces. A priest is good who follows his own teachings. I can more easily tell 20 people what is good to follow than be one of the 20 to follow my own teachings. The mind may frame rules for the body, but the heat of desires overpowers such dry laws. The impulses of youth will make one skip the good advice just as a hare avoids a trap. But this kind of logic is not the type that will make me choose a husband. Oh, what a word is to choose! Can neither choose the one I like nor refuse the one I dislike, for my wishes in life are controlled by the desires of a father who is dead. Is it not hard, Nerissa, that I can neither choose nor refuse a husband? Nerissa, your father was always pious, and such good men have inspiration at their death. The lottery which he has devised, namely the choice among the three caskets of gold, silver, and lead, in which the one who makes the correct choice will be won by you. I have no doubt that you will be chosen correctly by a person whom you will be truly love. Do you have any special love for any one of these princely suitors who have already come? Portia, please name them over, and as you do so, I shall comment on them. According to my comments, you may conclude about my love for them. Nerissa, first there is a prince from Naples. Portia, yes, he is like a wild young horse. He does nothing but talk of his horses. Besides, he considers it as his own merit that he can shoe his own horse. Nerissa. Then there is a German Palatine Count. Portia. He only frowns just as if to say, if you don't want me, choose anyone you wish. He hears good stories without a smile. I fear he will be a sad philosopher when he becomes old, since he has such unpleasant gloom in his youth. I should rather marry a grinning skull with a bone in its mouth than marry either of these. God protect me from both of them. Nerissa, what is your opinion about the French lord, Monsieur Le Bon? Portia, because God made him, we may let him pass for a man. I know it is wrong to ridicule others, but he is attached to his horse more than the Prince of Naples is. He frowns more than the Count Palatine. He has everybody else's characteristics but no personality of his own. If he hears a thrush sing, he starts to jump about and he would draw sword against his own shadow. If I were to marry him, it would be like getting married to 20 husbands. If he were to hate me, I would forgive him. But if he would love me madly, I would never return his love. Nerissa. Well, What do you say of Falconbridge, the young baron from England? Portia. You know that I say nothing to him because he does not understand me. Neither do I understand him. He does not speak Latin, French, or Italian, and you could swear in court that my English is poor. He has the appearance of a husbandman, but who can talk to man without words? How strangely he has dressed. I think he bought his jackets in Italy, his trousers in France, his cap in Germany, and his manners from everywhere. Nerissa. Well, what do you think of his neighbor, the Scottish lord? Portia. He has a love for his neighbor because he received a on his face from the Englishman and swore that he would return it when he was able to do so. I think the Frenchman guaranteed that the Scottish lord would repay his debt and signed his name underneath the Scotsman's signature on the bond as guarantee for a friend. Nerissa. How do you like the young German, the Duke of Saxony nephew? Portia. He is terrible in the morning when he is sober, but worst in the afternoon when he is drunk. When at his best, he is worse that man. And when he is at his worst, he is not better than best. If the worst thing that could happen should happen, I shall not accept him. Nerissa. If he should offer to make his choice and should choose the correct caskets, you would refuse to honor your father's will if you would refuse to accept him. Portia. So, in order to avoid such a situation, please place a large glass of British wine on the wrong casket. Even if the devil is in the casket, but the temptation of wine is outside, he will choose that particular casket. I will do anything. Nerissa, before I am married to a drunkard. Nerissa, you need not be worried, madam, having to marry any of these lords. They have informed me of their decision to go back to their homes and to trouble you no more with their suits, unless you are won by no other methods except the one imposed by your father, that is, by choosing the correct casket. Portia. If I were to live as long as the ancient Sibylla, I would rather die a virgin like Diana if I am not won by the method laid down in my father's will. I am glad that this crowd of suitors is very reasonable, and there is none among them whose absence I regret. I also pray to God grant them a happy journey. Nerissa, do you not remember, madam, in your father's time, a Venetian, a scholar, and a soldier who had come here in the company of the Marquis of Montferrat? Portia, yes, yes, it was a Bassanio, I think. He was called by that name. Nerissa, true, madam. Of all the men that ever my foolish eyes have seen, he seemed to me the most deserving to win a fair lady. Portia, I remember him well, and I remember him to be worthy of your praise. A servant enters. Hello, what is the news, servant? The four visitors wish to see you as well as to take your leave. Then there is a messenger from the Prince of Morocco. He brings the news that the prince, his master, will be here tonight. Portia, if I could welcome the fifth suitors as gladly as I bid farewell to the author, for I should be happy to hear of his arrival. If he has the virtues of saints but the dark complexion of a devil, I would prefer that he hears my religious confession rather than he marries me. Come, Nerissa, go ahead of us. As we shut the gates on one suitor, another knocks at the door.